tripod always starts super disturbing. It just gets cut out.
Every single time.
No one realizes, like, filming is happening. If you compiled
the first 5 minutes
of each...
Yeah.
I surprise the people in mine. Yeah. Like, I start it, and then I just see where it goes, and then they go, "Are we recording?" And I was like, "Yes, we are." How long? We've been recording for the last 7 minutes. I'm like, God damn it.
I don't think anybody, like, I think everyone just expects, like, the start to happen, but they don't realize, like, James starts the cameras before he obviously has to sit down. So once he's sitting, those things are already on, and nobody picks up on that.
And the pro tips just look for the red light, but people don't notice it, you know.
Yeah.
I've got the external monitor, so it just sits in front of me. You can probably see it in my video, but I just go boop, and no one can see red lights or anything like that. But there's a red, around the screen.
You got the full production.
I do.
I feel like, you know.
You want me to just let him do a pod?
You need to take some tips. Yeah.
Let's do this. I'll do the technology in here, and then you guys can help me with the interior design, because it's absolutely terrible.
Sign me up.
We'll do that trade.
I like this wall and some of the decor. Now I'm on the hunt for what I'm going to do to these two walls. The white, once you see it on camera, I'm not a big fan. I have a ton of gray, so I was like, maybe I'll paint them gray. But then I saw, Facebook Marketplace is a bad place to go for me. Yeah. And they had those, they're like tiles, like 60, kind of like these, but they're the like fake vines or greenery or whatever. Yeah. It's like super trendy now. You see it on a wall with like the LED light or whatever. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, what if I just, buy like 100 of those, and I could do like one wall in them. And I was like, oh wait, no, I can't do that, because then I got to paint the green on this wall a different color. So I'm just torn as to what to do, but I will decorate. I will decorate.
Don't sleep on the tapestry, because the one behind mine looks like a wood panel wall. Mm-hmm. It's literally just a $20 Amazon like wall. I think it's like 10 feet by 10 feet. It's basically covers the entire wall, and you cannot tell on video.
No, it looks good in your videos. Yeah,
but if you go up to it, you're like, oh, this is really cheap.
There's some Amazon has some great things. Pretty much everything in this room came off Amazon, but
pretty much other than the bows and deer.
Where'd you get the LED?
She got that on Etsy. Yeah.
No, don't confuse the two.
Etsy.
They're different. Etsy.
They're not really that much different, I don't feel like.
What is?
Pinterest and Etsy? Like, what's the difference?
Etsy makes things for you. Pinterest is just like a collage of ideas.
Oh, so one's like the idea board, the other one's where you go
one's
to
like
buy
where you can make your vision board. The other's where you actually go to execute.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
They do make, I started to find ones, because I wanted to do one like on the inside of that door that said like the studio or something when you see it from the outside of the room. I was like, but you can't have a cord hanging from the wall. But they do make ones with little battery packs, so you don't have to plug it in or anything. It's like, that might be the next step, because then I just don't like cords. Cords really...
Cords, are not
that
the best.
Me a
they
lot.
kind of get hidden, but by the cameras.
Oh, you didn't turn those little bright lights on.
Oh, should I hit them? Watch me hit them mid-video. So we're here with Brianna. Round of applause. Legend in here.
Thank you.
Also, the comment word of the day is watermelon. So if you're watching, drop watermelon in the comments.
Is this a new YouTube trend or something?
I just thought of it right now. So drop watermelon. I'm going to do it. Okay. Comment of the day is my new thing. So drop watermelon in the comments.
Oh, like I thought you meant if you say watermelon. Okay, so people just literally comment.
Right now they're going to write watermelon in the comments. Let me know they're watching. So anyway, people are going to drop that.
I prefer if you dropped a question, but
no, people won't respond to a question, but they'll type watermelon because it's fun.
What? No. Like, they can ask a question, and then you can respond to them because you respond to all the messages.
Well, I do, but it's too much effort. Watermelon's just like,
that's lazy.
It's kind of fun, It's fun.
Okay.
And we're also here with David.
Why watermelon?
Yeah.
I just thought of it right now on the spot, literally. I just felt like it was a good word.
Watermelon?
Hmm?
Do you put salt on your watermelon?
No.
No.
Isn't that a weird thing people do? Isn't it salt, right?
Not really. You can have salt with fruity things. I feel like a margarita is very fruity.
I put sugar on the rim.
Do you?
Yes.
But Brianna loves sweets,
I hate salt.
You got to see her go to Starbucks sometime.
Ooh.
Her order?
There's cold foam in my homemade coffee right now. It's a whipped can. Just pour it in there.
So anyway, David, 614 Archery, my guy. You've known him for like 4 years now? Long time.
3, 4?
Probably.
Maybe 3.
3
yeah.
years?
3.
Also
Maybe
a
less than
YouTuber.
Yes.
And a podder.
Yes.
Podder.
Mm-hmm.
His pod, better video production. The video production, not as good, man.
Much smaller.
Much smaller.
Much smaller.
But I love
But
shooting
the
David's.
technology.
He works with Southwest Bowhunters. Or are you like on the board or something?
I'm on the board. Yes, I'm a board member.
So if y'all haven't shot that and you're in any Western state, I suggest going because it's a lot of fun, especially to walk the trail. And what's the other one? The Halloween night shoot's the big one.
Halloween night shoot is our evening shoot where you attach a whole bunch of flashlights to your bow and get to use your lighted knocks and pins and stuff like that. And it's really fun. It's way more fun when you wait until darkness has completely fallen and then you go out.
Yeah.
A lot of people like to go when the sun has set. There's still light out there and then they finish the trail. But it's much more fun when you
At
wait
night.
until it's dark.
We didn't make that one this year. We were gonna,
Yeah.
and then something happened.
I kept telling James for the longest time, we still haven't done it. I want to go out. Probably eventually someone would call on us, but I want to go at dark, like down in Morley here, and do like glow in the dark balloons with lighted knobs, like a video. There's really no point to the video other than that it's fun, but
it would be fun.
it'd be fun to do.
But I like Yuma the shoot because
Isn't there another big shoot though? What's
the
the
walk
one
the trail,
coming
the one we just did.
Isn't there another one
There's
coming
another
up?
one in April. We've got the,
Oh shit! I'm gonna have a booth at that,
Yes.
so you guys can come buy merch too at that.
Excellent.
And I'm gonna compete, by the way. She's sitting in the booth. I'm gonna try to win that shit. You know. So, how many people go to that?
We don't know. It's our first year doing this particular one. It's the third leg of the Arizona 3D Championship. I think it's called the Cactus Cup.
Cactus Cup.
Yes.
I like that.
First leg is in Mesa at Usery Mountain Range, and then the second leg is in Dragoon in Tucson. That one's fun because it's in the middle of nowhere.
Bitchin', yeah.
Yeah. And then we've got the third leg of that. If you haven't participated in the other two, you can't win the buckle. But I mean, you can.
But you
You're out.
can win the.
Yeah.
But you can win the day.
You can win that day, yeah. Yeah.
I would like to do that. I would like to do that.
That's
And so
it's
some
an
merch.
actual buckle, like a rodeo
It is
buckle.
an actual rodeo, but that is a thing in archery.
They're sick, yeah. The
know.
belt
Nuh-uh.
buckles. Yeah.
Yes.
I need to get better. I'm obviously not going to go win anything at the rodeo, so if I could win an archery,
They're sick belts too. the
Yeah.
buckles.
They are.
But
that's super cool.
yeah, it's a good range. It's like you kind of get two different bags of shooting there, which I like. You get your real kind of technical tight stuff where it's more dark on your peep and your sight, and then you get in the back canyon and it's like just you're blasted with sun. You're out in the open. There's like no terrain or topography. There's like terrain, but I mean not much vegetation. So you're like really like just baking in the sun, and so the lighting, shooting wise, is very different between the two sides, and one's more. The canyon's obviously more stretched out shots generally. And I think that's cool. I think like the diversity of y'all's range is pretty cool. And I always like going. So I'm excited to come out and have a booth and hopefully shoot. And that's a 2-day?
That's going to be a 2-day, correct.
Was it like April 13th, 14th?
It's April 12th and 13th, the Saturday and Sunday that is out there.
All right.
And yes, you're not wrong about you're exactly right about the differences in lighting. So we have the Canyon Trail, which is in a canyon, obviously, and then we've got targets that go all the way back through this canyon at Adair Range, and then you cross the road towards the river, the Gila River, and then there's 2 river trails down there that we have at our big shoots, the East River Trail and the West River Trail. Like you said, it's very tight. You'll have to shoot through a window like this big.
Yep.
And I know people who do really well in the canyon that struggle in the river bottom trails because the lighting is so much different, and it's especially the ones who use lenses.
Oh yeah.
Because I've got a guy who we have a guy who just switched to a 10 power lens.
Oh yeah, you're host.
Oh my god!
He's
he
from
blind?
Yes, he is. He's from Kansas. He's a good boy from Kansas. He
Yes,
called me up the other day. He in his Kansas drawl. He's like, I just switched to a 10 power lens, man. I can see the nuts of the tick at 30 yards. But he's gonna he's gonna struggle with the lighting, especially when you need to index things on a target, which is something that I just recently for 3D started to do, because when I first came to Yuma, Arizona, started shooting 3D. I just shoot for where, like, I think where a vital would be on it, and those 12 rings are not necessarily where the vital would be. So you'd end up hitting an 8 when you're like, that's a kill shot. So yep. I started really trying to index my shot for where that and where that 12 ring is. I tried to index it. Like on a javelina, for instance, you've got these white dots. Yeah, and try to index, because the hardest thing that I think with indexing is you'll look at it through your binos, everything will make sense. You'll be like, yep, that's where it is.
You can't see it.
And then you go down and you're like, is it really that far down?
This is why you see my process. Like, I've always done this where I'll glass it, and then I'll go. I'll do that about 4 times. So I'm like, okay, I'm positive. I always want to make sure I'm like looking at the same. I'll see like a crack or like a shadow or something. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's it. And I'll go, okay, I see it. Is that the same shadow? And then I'll like eventually, once I'm sure, I'll shoot. But I've always done that, And I think that a lot of people who maybe don't get as good of results as they want at 3D, a lot of times it's just like a skill difference. That is a thing, but sometimes people just don't put the effort in to really study where you're trying to hit and then find a way to hold on it. Like, I'm big on, like today there was some good ones where I would glass it and then go, okay, there's where I'm trying to hit. And I'd be by the cone, and you can get a bow's length from the cone. So I'd be like right next to it, and I'd go, okay, got that piece of grass. If I could take a step back, that piece of grass will be perfectly right in the 12. So now I can hold on the blade of grass, but have something definitive to hold on. And just little tricks like that have helped me score pretty high consistently, is like the effort and then just like the attention to detail kind of on where to hit.
Was that camera just looking directly at your crotch?
It might have been.
Probably. You stood up and it's definitely not going to get your face.
No, it's zoomed all the way out. I'm a short king. 6 foot.
You're not short.
On Hinge.
Oh, okay.
Jeez. But yeah.
Oh my goodness. No, you're totally right about that. Like I struggle with that on a target by target. Some are really easy to identify, but some
the dinosaur, the 2 stripes coming down, or the cobra's pretty easy. Sasquatch. For me, a funny one's a coyote. The pronghorn's easy. Just hit the bend of the white. Mm-hmm. The coyote, you hit the cluster of black dots on the right on the bottom dot. Yep. You can be perfect. It's kind of fun once you've shot a lot to be like, okay, I know where to hit this one.
Yeah, but some of those targets look the same, but their 12 rings are different. It just depends on the manufacturer.
Yep.
Yeah, like the deltas are like up in like the back of the 8.
Yeah.
I won't even at those. I'll just shoot for 10s. I don't really find it worth it to go for the 12s. I would maybe if I was doing like a ASA or something like that.
Have you ever done that type of scoring? The three dots in the middle. That confused the hell out of me the first time I saw it. No, I have not. I hate that scoring.
It's goofy to me a little bit
because the middle dot is not actually your highest score.
No, it's the one on like the top left or something.
Yes, but the middle dot I think is a 10, and then the dots on either side are 12s, and then the 14 is like back.
Way back, yeah.
Yeah, but that didn't. I don't know that it doesn't make sense that there's 2 high scoring rings on either side of. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe because it's closer to the 8 ring.
That's why it's more risky to hit them. So, but yeah, I always thought that was a little goofy. Out here everyone has Reinhardt targets, so everything's basically 5, 8, 10, 12.
Well, that's what I don't get, though. Like, you guys do it, but out here doesn't. So
the 12s?
Yeah, like we use Reinhardt's, but but why call it an X?
I don't know.
Why not just count the points?
I don't know why they do that here.
That's target.
Circles there.
We don't score 12s anywhere. They score
They just give
just
them an
10s.
X.
With X.
And if you hit the 12, that's a 10X, and they say that that's a tiebreaker. So, for example, the shoot I was at today, it's a 28 target shoot, but the max score was 280. You can't, 12s get you nothing. So, other than a tie break.
Maybe that's...
I guess it's fine, but I do prefer 12s.
Yeah. Maybe that's due to, like, so many target archers. They're just used to, like, shooting...
Could be.
For X.
Oh, maybe.
Because that's... I did a actual target shoot in December, and it was, you know, the X is an X, and stuff like that. But that it feels like there's a little bit too much segmentation in that.
It feels a little goofy to me. But I've always thought that. I've even told them, like, that's why at Motorcycles Challenge, like, I do 12s, but it's also not a competitive shoot. But on your scorecard, you know, like, this year we're actually going to do a little, because last year we had so many first-time shooters come, that they're like, how do we score it? And I was explaining how to score it, and I was like, we need a little key on the scorecard where you can flip it over, and it has a visual of, like, this ring is this. So that way people don't, you know, I don't have to tell them, and they might forget. You can just, like, flip over your card and go, oh, okay, now I know how to score it, you know.
And they never look at the email.
No, yeah, so that's why it's got to be on the card. So we're going to have, like, a safety number on the card and the, maybe, like, a course description or something on the back. And then other than that, just the ring demonstration.
Yeah.
But I love shooting 3D, man. Like, I think it makes you a better hunter, too. Like, I mean, that's a big reason why I do it so much. One, because it's fun and I like being competitive. Like, those are both big reasons I like to do it. And I love to shoot. So it's like, fits a lot of things. But also, you can't tell me that doing a bunch of bow shooting is not going to make you better at shooting when you got a buck in front of you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The only dangerous thing about 3D is that you might start going for a 12 ring instead of a
perfect. Yeah.
And a lot of these shoots, they purposely set the target up to be absolutely 100% just 90-degree broadside, when you're almost never going to get a shot like that.
Yeah, a lot of times you're going to have a little quarter or something.
And in which case, like, your absolute kill shot might be just inside an 8 ring. Mm-hmm. If that animal's quartering away from you, it's going to go in through the eight ring and then come out through the front or something like that.
Dude, for sure. On some 3D targets, I think maybe someone like the mule deer. I swear, sometimes
you know what it is? It's like the cougar, or like the jumping cougar, or like the standing, sitting hog.
Oh yeah, the
one
hogs.
Where the target of they're just absolutely nowhere near. Like, even close to where vitals would be. Like, not even similar. They're like...
That one hog where it's like legs are
the sensual warthog.
Yeah.
I love that target. That's one of my favorite targets.
But it's true. Like, the rings on that are so far back, like, you're hitting almost like mid-belly.
Yeah.
Downward facing warthog.
Downward warthog. But I shit you not, there's some of the, like, mule deer targets where the ideal hunting shot that I want to shoot for is a 5. It's like a borderline 5 because it's below. They kind of set everything high.
So high.
And I want to hit like as low as I can, pretty much. And it's like I would almost hit the seam of the insert if I really pinwheeled them like I wanted.
Well, that's
so
like
it is. I agree with you. It would be. I wonder what 3D would look like if the targets were still had score rings, but based 100% on anatomy.
Like
yes, they're very expensive.
Yeah.
There are. What are those called?
I don't remember.
There's a name for them, but...
Adjusting?
I have that poison oak. So we've been cutting trails, bro.
Okay. I was wondering what happened to your face.
Yeah. So we've been cutting trails for...
It looked a lot worse a couple days ago. His eyes were like almost swollen shut. I was at the bow shop. Actually, this morning I was at lunch. I'm just doing this. They're like, what are you doing? I was like, it's that poison oak.
It feels so good.
It does, yeah. So we've been cutting the trails for the shoot so no one else has to get poison oak. Basically, we wanted to get it cut real early this year So we can go twice a month till the shoot and just spray the shit out of the side. So it's like wide, no poison oak. So we got hammered, unfortunately. But
Not me.
Yeah, she doesn't get it, dude. But
Are you immune?
Yeah.
I guess.
So yesterday we took the dog out for a hike and we found some, right now everything's kind of dormant where we're starting to kind of get some buds for leaves. But for the most part, it just looks like dead vinage. We went out on a hike yesterday and there was some ripe poison. I mean, it was just
almost where it's like
glistening.
dripping.
So James was like, you can find out. I was like, all right. So I just ripped it off the bush. I pulled down my arm. I was like,
oh,
She
nothing.
didn't get
I got
it, dude.
nothing.
dude,
I mean, it was soaking in oil, and I got nothing.
I get boils.
Oh,
Like,
dude, me too.
Like disgusting, like leprosy
Whoa.
boils.
Damn. Yeah, you'll be good at the shoot thanks to me getting hammered. But
I do appreciate that.
like it was crazy because the stuff that we're cutting through, it doesn't even have leaves at all. But I always knew you could get it off just the stems.
Yeah.
We got smoked pretty good, but dude, I know last year is funny. I was talking to him about our shoot, and all those guys were like, your whole group was like, dude, this is a lot of hiking, bro. Like
Oh,
this year, bro, is like double the amount of hiking. Like we are gonna whoop
horrible.
people's ass, dude.
How much time do we have in between?
You got a couple months, but
I'll just go telegraph pass.
dude,
Twice a week.
bring an
It's
e-bike.
fine.
Hey, bring an e-bike. Can you imagine?
just passing people on the course.
Bring an e-bike would be crazy.
Yeah, it's I was out there for them. I'm trying to create maps for them this year. Put on the website and
The maps are sick.
dropping things on Onyx and like following behind them.
Oh, you gonna
And
put it
it's
on
like-
Onyx?
That's where I'm putting them on right now. So all the pins, and then I go and I hide them all. I screenshot my Onyx, and then I go back to make it look prettier than Onyx does. I take it into Canva and find each spot and make it the creative version.
Mhm.
So it's a lot of work, but I'm like 100 or more yards behind them, and I'm just like, how much longer does this keep going uphill? Oh my
Dude,
god,
the map,
it's just rough.
dude.
Oh,
The maps she's making are slick, bro. Like, because I used to go to whatever, like Knott's Berry Farm or some shit when I was a kid. Like, we'd go one time, and I always thought the maps were so cool. The like animated
he likes like
maps.
the Disney maps,
Yeah,
like
The Disney
character
maps, and I was like, "Can you make that, dude?" And the maps she's making literally look like Disney maps, dude. Like they're so sick, and I was like, "I can't wait to put these out." But
Yeah, I still
mostly-
think my favorite shot though, this that you've set so far, is the one Matt picked out
that
the other
uphill
day.
one, straight
It's
up.
like the only uphill.
No, we got.
There's
we got
maybe
a handful.
some, but like nothing like this one. It's just like,
Yeah, steep.
and then you climb it all the way up, and that was one of the ones like. There's a lot of stuff this year we cut in. There's just no trails. It's just straight through poison oak. Just go. So we're making all of the new trails,
Yeah.
and it is rough, but the hikes are.
Oh, dude, it'll.
For the people, I told him I kind of feel bad for the people buying one-day passes because, like, they're just. I don't think there's any way this year, especially if it were busy. Like, there's no way you're getting through all 3 courses in one day. I don't feel it
I
unless
don't
you're
think
by
that's a lot
yourself
of people's
shooting.
goals, though. If you're doing
No.
one day, you're
No.
cool shooting 2.
Yeah,
But
that's
even
what you would
doing-
hope.
Shoot, even doing like if you're not in shape, even just doing one is gonna whoop your ass.
Yeah,
dude.
well, there's just some steep sections too. Like, I told him, I was like, man, if like we need to put. There's even one I was just like, just put one step in, just one step in the dirt at least, because there's some people whose knees or some older people they're gonna give out, and
yeah, it's a
not
tough
good.
balance to find sort of, but no, it'll. I think it'll be great. Just like I can't wait for y'all's shoot in April. Debbie, what an angel!
Yes,
I love
indeed.
Debbie, dude.
Yeah, she's a gem.
The first time Brianna met Debbie, I was like, that lady right there is a beast. And
Yeah.
she's
the
like,
first
she's like,
conversation
no way.
we
I go,
had was
Debbie.
about her elk.
I said, show her a picture of your elk.
Yeah.
It's just a hammer bowl, dude.
Yes.
Ever since
Super
I was-
unassumingly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
Ever since then, I'm like, if Debbie can do it, I can do it.
Dude, Debbie, I love Debbie, man. She's so sweet. And she came up to me and she's like, hey, would you by chance want to come to our thing and have a like a booth or sponsor it? I said, I'll tell you what, Debbie, I would love to. Let me check my schedule, you know. And then I text Scotty because I don't think I have her number. So I text him. I was like, I'm gonna come because it was clear that weekend. So I'm excited for it. And we'll have new merch by then.
Yes.
Excellent.
New tees,
Yes.
baby. Yeah. But Brianna going to be slinging merch and selling shoot tickets. I'm going to be trying to win an event. You know? Maybe
what he's
me and
saying
David-
is I have no chance of winning, so he's gonna go.
You said you didn't want to shoot. You said you wanted to
No,
sit
yeah,
the
I'd
booth.
rather just sit in the booth.
Me and David, maybe we'll finally group up.
Let's do it.
Actually, we grouped up the first time we met.
Yes, just be aware that for this one, you're only allowed to be in a group with one other person that you know.
Oh shit! So you
So-
and me, that's it.
Yeah.
That's perfect. I'm not coming with anyone else. So
Yeah. And I won't be able to compete in it because I'm setting up the trails, but I can
shoot still.
Shoot
All right.
still.
Cool.
Yeah, but no, Debbie's an absolute hammer, and she had a shoulder injury that she's been recovering from, and I believe it is her bow arm. So, she was out at Blythe when we were out there in 50-mile-per-hour winds, and she's got a Bowtech, and it's I don't know, it's a couple-year-old Bowtech, but it's the 28 axle to axle. And she just had like a basic stabilizer, you know, a really lightweight sight on it. And like I picked up her bow and I was like, holy shit, this is heavy, Debbie. Good Lord. She's like, oh yeah, no, it's great, isn't it? And I was like, all right, man. But like she
some weight to it?
Yeah, she holds it up there like a tank, and she shot really, really well. She's a hammer. She'll get a turkey with a bow, which I hate turkeys. I want to kill a turkey so bad.
You don't like them?
So this goes back to.
I can't wait for this.
This goes back to Ohio tree stand hunting. And I was a Ohio Midwest tree stand hunter for a long time. You know, I got a saddle afterwards just because of the safety factor, but. Public land, never had my own land to hunt on, so you know you're out there with whatever, you do your own scouting, all of that stuff, and I've been out turkey hunting in Ohio a couple times, and I've never seen nor heard a turkey in Ohio during turkey season. And this is with a shotgun. I was trying to Elmer Fudd my way through the woods to try to kill a turkey, and I swear, every single deer season, and I have footage of this, I will without fail, almost every weekend I go out, I will have a flock of 40 turkeys go directly below my stand. And it's just like I could drop a rock and kill one of these turkeys. And then during turkey season they just disappear. And it's just like, they're out there like
oh, God, David, dude. What a legend.
I hate turkeys. I actually like eating turkey, so I would love to.
Wild turkeys are not nearly as good
but
though
it's
as a store-bought turkey.
That's true.
Because they're so lean and wiry. At least the ones we have here.
I would love to sever the head of a turkey.
Yeah, with the
feast upon its lifeless corpse.
The guillotine. Remember the guillotine products? Damn, bro. Those. I think Josh Bomar has a slow-mo where he uses the guillotine and the turkey head just goes flying up in the air.
Oh my God.
From like two angles, too. It's crazy.
He films, dude, his new camera he filming on is
that
like 400,000 frames a second or something. It's crazy. I think it's called like a... I don't remember the Phantom.
Phantom Flex, yeah.
Crazy.
Didn't they say the camera cost like $200,000?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
He's got that. He's got the money for that. So
Yeah.
don't worry about that.
That's cool though. I mean, hey, life is but a dream,
I've also heard he films absolutely everything.
Oh,
like what you see on his channel is like 1% of what.
Oh, I'm sure.
But he's got a team that does that for him.
That's the thing. If you have like people filming with you, like I've thought about getting an intern and just like kind of like film like stuff I haven't normally, like I don't know, like packing merch sales and like going and shipping them and then like going and shooting, hitting the gym, like shit like that. I'm like, maybe that would be good, but I'm like, I don't know.
The juice has to be worth the squeeze.
Exactly, and I don't think it is,
Or not at this point.
Not at this point, yeah, maybe at some point. But
if you were getting to a point where you were pumping out stuff and the demand was actually there, because that the demand is half of it. Like if you get a section of the internet who is demanding more stuff from you, then that might be the time to do it.
100%, yeah. And it's funny because we talk about this a lot in the pod, actually, is how much different your demand is on different platforms. Because we post everywhere. you know. And YouTube is like, I would say, our home base. That's like where it started. It's the main thing. But then on other platforms, like the follower number may be higher, but it's like the engagement is just like not quite the same as it is on YouTube, you know? And I always think about that, like, I think about these girls on Instagram that are like your OnlyFans type of girls. Like, no, for real, but then they'll try to start a YouTube, and like they can carry an Instagram or an OnlyFans because they're carrying it with their looks, but they're not speaking or anything. And and some of them like are
the women
not necessarily the most. They can't carry a 20-minute video. You know what I mean? But they can carry a picture and
carry a 10-second conversation.
You know, like, I don't know. So I'm saying like there is that difference of like, can you carry a short form content or can you carry something that's 45
No, that I feel like that's even like
Yeah.
whether you're a OnlyFans or just like a girl who's in like the outdoor community. Like sometimes, you know, there's some, I'm not gonna hate on women, but like there's some out there just there to take like, I'm sure they hunt too. I'm sure they shoot, but like what's going on the gram is like the pretty photo of them shooting their bow. And then they get like 150,000 followers and they translate that to a YouTube. It's not
And
the
then
same.
like 4 people watch the YouTube.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Have you ever tried to like talk on a video by yourself for more than 10 minutes? Like there are people out there who can just talk all day. Like Chael Sonnen is one of them where he just like he can just talk,
Bro,
and it doesn't matter.
What
like,
a gem of life
dude,
that
I know,
guy
dude.
is, bro.
But like, have you ever tried to do that?
I have. So I've done it on some reviews. I had to think about it, but yes, I have. And
It's hard.
you got to kind of have a script sort of for shit like that. Like you got to have the ideas kind of at least in your head, like how you want them to line out. I think that's the key. Unless you're Chael Sonnen or something, like there's some people that are just super unbelievably entertaining. Like Chael Sonnen's one of them. Dave Portnoy to me is one of them.
Yeah.
Trump obviously is one of them. Whether you hate him or not, Trump is the funniest, most entertaining dude probably of all time.
Go for 3 hours.
He is. He could go forever. Dude, did you see the one the other day where he goes, "It's so bright, these lights in my face, I can't. I can only see the black people."
Did you? Oh,
Did you see that?
jeez.
Did
Oh
you
my
see
god,
it?
dude.
Did you see it?
No, I
And
did not.
He says it.
He goes, "Look how far we've come. Look how far we've come." Because he can't see.
Dude,
It's priceless, dude.
I saw one where he was talking. I think it was when Vivek dropped out, and he talked for like 20 minutes, and he brought Vivek up. He talked for 20 minutes, and then Trump came on and talked for another 30 minutes, and I don't know like if this was a plan, but during the speech they started playing like this music that was just like super rising and stuff like that, and you could tell like it was like
ride the beat.
Yeah, the music was like his cue to like go into like this mode of speaking where he was just talking about the future and stuff like that, and then he did that for 20 minutes. I don't know how they got a song that long for him to speak, and then he wrapped it all up in the video ended. I was like, this is ridiculous, dude. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh god, dude. Some people, like I said, just have it, dude. And he got it. Like he has it probably more than anybody, dude.
More than anyone.
The only guy who, I mean, I do think Portnoy is very good at this too. Like, he'd have some person, he's eating his pizza, someone walks by on the sidewalk, and somehow it's like the most wild interaction.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like eating a pepper that a homeless dude gave him, and he's like, well, just random shit he does. And I'm like, there's a reason, and it works.
Or who's the one that almost uncomfortable to watch?
Oh, Danny
sometimes?
Mullen?
Danny Mullen.
I don't know the guy.
Danny Mullen's a little different because
He does interact
Danny-
with like he shows us him and the one dude on.
But Danny Mullen is kind of putting on, and he does it very well, but it seems he's kind of putting on a little bit of a show, and he's very good at it, for sure, and I love his content. But like Dave, I think Dave is just being Dave. And I think Trump is, to be honest, I think that's him. Like, I think that's who he is.
Yeah.
I swear if I hung out with him, I think he would just be sitting there going, "James, we did it better than anyone ever. We did it the biggest." Like, for real, I think he would.
Dude, my favorite.
And I would love it. Oh, I would love it.
My favorite Dave Portnoy interaction is the one where, like, and I actually knew about this guy before he was on Dave Portnoy, or on the pizza review. It's the homeless guy with no arms.
Oh, dragging the backpack.
And he stabbed like 3 people, and Dave is doing his review, and like the guy comes up to him, and Dave like kind of like looks by. He's like, "Don't forget to feed the homeless." And he's got the bag under his arm, and Dave just goes, and he stares at him like walking away, and he's just like, "How's he holding that?" he goes, how's he holding it?
I know, yeah, dude.
And he's just flabbergasted. And there's a 5-minute sequence where he's just like, I don't know what to do right now.
One of the all-time
It just completely derailed the entire pizza review.
That's one of the best ones of all time. Or the one recently, I don't know if you saw it, where the guy... It's the one where Dave doing the review outside, and the guy comes out and he goes, "Hey, this is public this is my business. You got to get out of here."
Oh, the one with the tight
And they have
shirt
this
on.
whole fight on the sidewalk, basically, and it went like mainstream. It was on like the news and shit. Did you see this one?
Yeah,
dude.
The crazy part about that is that guy didn't want more business because he's already at max capacity, and then after that interaction, he got more business than he wanted. Like, people went there just because of that interaction with him.
Yeah. I mean,
and it was just like, and
press
so
is good press too.
Yeah,
100%. Like,
yeah.
There's a place in San Diego actually that he went to that he gave like an 8.2, I think, like so a high score.
Mm-hmm.
And still to this day, they get crazy traffic because of it.
Yeah,
you know, and that was like 4 years ago. But the pizza is great, you know. So it goes to show, like, I mean, that's why companies want to like sponsor and work with athletes. Like we were talking about Shohei Ohtani earlier and how he did the huge contract and his endorsement deal, or Spotify paying Rogan a ton of money. It's because, you know, like if Dave or somebody's telling you to buy a pizza, like you'll trust him, you know.
I feel like I heard a story where they made up the first 2 years of Shohei Ohtani's contract in the first like month. Just on merch sales.
I believe it. And I also watched another video where they were saying that when you looked at the ads at Angel Stadium, or even when he was on away games,
yeah,
the ads behind home plate would all be Japanese because they would call in and buy the ads for when he was playing. Mm-hmm. So they were explaining how the Dodgers' revenue is about to just blow through the roof because not only are they selling a ton of merch, but they're also getting all these new advertisers. So they're like, yeah, we'll pay them $700 million, but we'll make it back in 2 years.
But you know who was the first to do that, right? MJ.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
They like there's no other force in the world like MJ.
To look at Jordan still this day. We'll watch these sneaker videos on YouTube.
Oh my God, it's insane.
And like, bro, the resale market's insane. Some of these shoe stores in LA, they'll come in and sell these Jordan.
Would you pay $1,000
No,
for a pair
I
of
would not.
shoes?
Here's what I figured out. These are $9 shoes from Walmart because I destroy $9 shoes from Walmart exactly the same as $200 Nikes, so it doesn't matter to me. Yeah. Someone makes fun of my shoes, I go, I don't care.
I actually think those are slick shoes.
They're super comfortable and they're like $9, so whatever.
I'm the same way.
I can't.
But I think the videos are entertaining. Those sneaker videos, like I think they are entertaining. Another great YouTuber is Whistling Diesel. You ever watch his stuff?
Is that oh no, that's Heavy Duty Sparks.
Is that the dude who lives down by Brittany?
No, he's the guy who wrecks Lambos and monster trucks and shit. Have you seen this?
No, I'm not.
Dude, so he goes to the sneaker.
It's just a reckless use of money.
What a life where you just get to wreck Lamborghinis.
Yeah, so he'll just
get away with it.
My favorite one he did is like the sneaker community is like, it's like, that's like God, bro. Like these sneakers. He goes into this high-end sneaker store selling Jordans and shit. And he buys like a 1 of 50 of those self-lacing Nikes, and I think he bought them for like, 60 grand in the video. Dude.
Is that the one where it's from? From Back to the Future.
Back to the Future.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he buys an authentic pair at the store, gets the whole card, everything. It's like I said, there's not that many of them. And then the next clip, he's like walking across nails and stuff, like nails pointing out of the thing. He's walking across fire, like just like torching these shoes. But so many people eat up the comments because, like, you know, it's probably a lot of haters.
Oh, I can guarantee you it's 75% haters, but it doesn't. He does not care.
No, he doesn't.
Because the more haters, the more traffic, dude. Oh my
He
god.
rolled Jake Paul into one of his boxing fights on a tank. So he drove one of his tanks with Jake Paul into the boxing ring.
So,
That guy.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I can't even picture using money that way.
Oh,
When you've got so much that you can just literally, like, you could start your fire with your $100 or $1,000 bills.
I think a lot of that too is probably the snowball effect, where people know that he do it, and so they just give him stuff for free to destroy.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to. It's not on his dime.
And they know it's gonna do berserk views, you know. So I think, like, we were talking about it the other day. I'd be curious your thoughts on this, since you know you also edit, make content. But what advertisers pay a ton of money for is for views. Like, ultimately, like, that's why Super Bowl ads cost a tremendous amount. So it's not necessarily for the person or the product, or it really comes down to, if you're promoting a product, you want to spend the money where it's going to get the most views.
I would views, maybe. If views equal revenue share, yes. Because you could have something where something gets a ton of views, i.e. Kid Rock, and then things plummet. So I would think, I think that they pay for, ultimately, they, like, money talks. They pay for if someone is popular, and this is where I think that it's weird to watch corporate or mainstream media, because they think they're still the most popular thing around.
There.
But then
That's unbelievable.
You realize that it's like they're not even aware that, like, Jake Paul exists. So they'll just when they talk about, like, somebody like Jake Paul or something like that, they'll be like, oh, a YouTuber got into boxing.
I
like,
love it, dude.
it's just, that's so.
Yeah.
They are so unaware of what happens, but I think that they advertise, or they ultimately they do that for a result. It is results driven, whether that's views or they want it to equal money.
It just seems like, I agree, of course it's results driven, but it seems the result they base mostly off views. The only reason I think that is because the Super Bowl demands so much money for the ads, and they sell out. Like, they have no problem selling them out, you know. But
there's only a limited number in
and it's,
that's where I think,
it's
like,
finite,
it's a tie, like I said, between the two things, because it's not just the views, but it's because, you know, Super Bowl ads are notoriously known for being iconic.
Yeah, so people are
ads.
extra engaged
so,
too.
Yeah, so, like, if you can, you know, make a banger Super Bowl ad, that thing's going to be talked about for weeks on end. And then
Get YouTube views.
you know, it's not just your ad that gets seen by billions of people, but then, you know, your ad gets turned into memes. Your ad gets used in other people's YouTube videos. Your ad gets talked about on podcasts. Your ad gets talked about on the news. And so you made one really expensive ad that got 1 million bajillion views. But now it's turned into hundreds of thousands of free views because people spin your ads. So that's why I think probably people do the, like, Super Bowl prime example, but ads in general.
Well, and another thing too with doing a Super Bowl ad is immediately you're in pop culture. It's the minute it comes out, it's pop culture because people are tweeting about it right away. So there's nowhere else. Like if you do an ad on Dateline NBC, that's not in pop culture. No one's watching that,
I think there is the law of diminishing returns for that, though, as well. Like, I think that a lot of those commercials have the price has outdone what the price should do. Because when you think about what the Super Bowls used to be, there was a point where it was all about the game, and then there was a point where like all this crazy stuff happened around the Super Bowl, like Justin Timberlake ripping the off,
Janet Jackson.
Like and then it got to a point where
Miley Cyrus dancing with a crazy, and then Katy Perry with the sharks. It became a meme.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying. Like it's kind of changed what the main event was.
Yeah, and so but even then, like the ads got more and more ridiculous, but they got more and more ridiculous, so people started watching the ads for the ridiculousness, and then it got so ridiculous that like the excitement over the ads waned a little bit, and then now it's sort of hit an equilibrium, but the prices keep going up for that to a ridiculous amount, and I don't think that they do as much as people think they do. I obviously don't have any numbers to back that up, but when you used to look at Super Bowl ads, it used to be crazy, the amount of engagement you could get on that. But now, I don't remember a single Super Bowl ad. I'm sorry.
So the problem is there's so much. I remember a couple, but I think the difference is nowadays, I think any sort of content is tough from an advertiser's perspective, because there's so much content in the world now.
It's oversaturated.
You got, you can listen to stuff on Spotify, walk into the car, you get to the car, you might pop a YouTube video on your,
and then there's Spotify, there's and then you get Apple home Music or Apple Podcasts or whatever, and then whatever other podcast platforms there are, and then all the other social media platforms, and then YouTube. What's the we joke about it? No, starts with P. Where everybody puts their more scandalous content.
Patreon.
Scandalous. I was going to say
Patreon or OnlyFans, but like I think that because there's such a huge, never-ending flow of content, I agree with you. It's kind of like you blow that much money, and then it's like your content's just down the river.
And that's where you get a guy crashing a plane on purpose.
Or some shit. Yeah, right? Like, because it's going to get traction. But again, even something like that, you can get the wildest piece of footage, dude. Yeah. The wildest shit. And it'll be done in 2 weeks.
I think the reason why companies buy those Super Bowl ads, and of course, the pricing on the Super Bowl ad varies based off of what quarter you're going to be in and the timing of all that stuff. Like around the halftime show, I think they're higher because people are, stuff like that.
Tuning in more.
Exactly. I think a lot of those companies feel like it is worth it for if that viral moment happens right before or after their commercial. I'll give you an example. So you're a baseball guy.
Yeah.
You remember when Bo Jackson was, coming up, and he was a 2-sport star, and then he was on the Kansas City Royals, and then they did the All-Star game. Well, they did. They were in the middle of the All-Star game, and then it was right before he was about to do his first at-bat, and then the commercial Bo Knows plays, this famous commercial that he had with I think Nike for the trainers. Mm-hmm. The second it gets back from that commercial, he cranks a fucking home run.
Yeah,
and it was just the most. It was the most perfect segue from advertising to real life that anyone had ever seen, and it was the crazy. It was viral before viral was even a thing.
Yeah, the internet wasn't even like a thing. Yeah, dude.
So I feel like that. I feel like for a lot of companies, it is worth it if
just off catching lightning in a bottle, maybe.
Exactly.
And also these companies that are buying these commercials are doing so much revenue. They're like, they don't care if it gets a return so much.
Yeah.
It's more about like being in the social landscape. I think. Which also brings me back to archery. See, I'm bringing it back.
Yeah.
This guy shoots a pink elite.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yes,
so when we were talking about 3 and you getting into target, way back in the beginning of this, I wanted to ask, and then the conversation ventured elsewhere.
Life is but a dream.
ADHD, but so did that bow, like, does Elite, it offers that color bow?
Or did you
They don't anymore. I'm hoping to bring it back. Elite doesn't know I exist, but it's fine.
This would be the reason my first bow was an Elite, and I sold it when James convinced me, go bow tech, and I did it, and I do like mine, but if they brought back a pink bow, I would probably switch to Elite in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm. I'm getting dropped by my sponsor.
I'm sorry, that is his. Like, the second I saw you post that bow, I was like, oh my God, I just fell in love. This is the most beautiful bow I've ever seen in my life.
It is the
it's like
prettiest
this
bow.
coral
Yes.
It is a good
pink,
looking bow.
beautiful pink. It's not like hot pink. It's not like, this weird like salmon or like, I don't know. It's just... It's pretty.
It is beautiful.
It is pretty.
It's called Sunset Pink.
It
is the most beautiful bow ever.
All right, so here's my question. One thing I kind of like about David is he does videos, and I love the color grading you've been posting lately. You use DaVinci for color? Or
I
what?
do.
DaVinci, okay. Here's the thing. I like his shit because he uses different gear than a lot of people. Kind of like me. I don't use, not too many people use these yet, more and more. And same with the arrows. But
what gear does he use?
Or the Bowtech even. Not a ton of people shoot Bowtech. So I like that you shoot Elite. The release that you shoot, I don't see a ton of people shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you shoot Elite number 1? And then the release I know you love because I see you posting about it. What got you into shooting those? Why do you like them? Why do you like some of the gear that you like?
There are 2 very long stories for both the release and the bow.
Okay.
I will attempt to shorten them.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Give me the 4-minute version.
For the bow,
Yeah.
okay, we went to Hike to Hunt 2 years ago. And it's up in Flagstaff, Arizona, and it's in the middle of July, so you go from 114 degrees to 70 degrees as a high in 6 hours. So you get up there, and my buddy and I went up there together, and we go out in the trails I've got my crappiest set of boots on. I've got, I think, these, which are, again, like Walmart pants, because I go through pants, especially in the crotch portion, like crazy. I rip pants open like crazy, so I buy cheap pants. But
you got a big hog?
Yeah, no, just legs that rub together.
Okay, all right.
And I'm in a t-shirt.
Those thick thighs.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I'm in a t-shirt with my 8-year-old bow, and we're out there, and we roll up there, and we are in the middle of what looks like, I don't know. It could only be described as like the Monaco of the hunting world. There are $150,000 GMCs rolling up with lift kits. Everybody getting out with $3,000 worth of Sitka, $400 crispy boots. They've got the latest bows. They've got all the latest gadgets. And it was everybody. And Fritz, my buddy, and I are looking at each other like,
we're the poor outcasts right now.
Well, not even that. We were just like, these guys must be like really good in order
Not the case. I bet that wasn't the case.
And we get on the course, and this guy, it is July. I want to make it clear, it's July. There's nothing in hunting season. Nothing in season.
I know where
and this
you're going.
dude is dressed head to toe in Sitka. He has the entire neck gaiter. The only thing you can see are his eyeballs. He has a Hoyt RX-7.
Was it Halloween?
Oh my God! He had a Hoyt RX-7, crispy boots, and so we're shooting a 60-yard shot at a big elk target. It was not a difficult shot, and so we shoot, and he goes, oh yeah, go ahead, guys. I'm gonna move up, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? You're gonna move up dressed like that? You're gonna move
But
up
he's
to like
so
what,
hard 'cause
40?
he has his $400 Sitka outfit on.
I was like, this is ridiculous.
$2,000 bow.
This is ridiculous. And my buddy was on another trail, and he's dressed in jeans. He's a good old boy, you know. He
Love
like,
it.
and he's with this other group, and they were nice guys, but you know, this dude was talking himself up, and you know, Fritz was there. He's talking to him, and he's like, and the other guy's like, "Yep, got mule deer with a bow at 80 yards last year. Got him right through the heart, you know." So, and Fritz was like, "Damn, dude, that's fucking crazy, man. I wouldn't take a shot at more than like 50 with my skills."
Yeah, right.
And so they go to a shot at 40 yards. Fritz hits like an 8, and he's like, "It wasn't an impressive shot." And the dude fucking missed.
Oh god.
He's just
please,
like,
no,
he turns to the
bro.
guy around. He's like, "Are you fucking kidding me? 80 yards, really? Yeah, I don't believe that for a second." So. Anyways, we get done with that, and I'm like, these guys are fucking ridiculous. Like, they're showing this is a dress up contest.
Yeah,
This is a
I have been to those.
This is a fashion show disguised as an archery shoot. And I was like, this is ridiculous. I shouldn't have been afraid of these guys. You know, we were super, you know, we got super intimidated immediately. We should not have. And that taught me a lesson. But my hunting bow got messed up, and I had to restring it. I had to get new limbs. I had to do all that. So I was down a bow. And so we get to Sunday Fun Day, and this was like a year afterwards, and my buddy is shooting his copper echelon, elite echelon, and I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, so I went out to film, and my buddy Gump was like, "Hey, why don't you shoot my echelon? You know, we can shoot it together. Our draw length is pretty much similar." And I was like, "Cool." His is a little bit shorter than mine, so I wasn't very comfortable, but I outshot him with his own bow that day. And I was like, this thing is really nice. And it has a solid back wall, which I like to crank on the back wall.
Elite has a very firm back wall for sure.
Very firm back wall. And I was like, this is really nice. So we get to do our podcast, and Scotty, he goes, "Hey, Podium Archer is selling elite echelons on eBay." And he goes, "Hey, I have the perfect one for you." And I was like, "Okay." And he shows me, and it's the sunset pink bow. And I immediately was like, "Oh, I have an idea." You go to these archery shoots with all of these dudes dressed up in Sitka. Yeah, exactly. And then you show up with a pink bow
And
smoke them. How just emasculating would that just be to everybody there?
And we'll smoke them. David, a good shooter. Real good shooter, so I mean that's for sure.
And I've gotten better since I've gotten that bow, but it hasn't generated the attention. People go, oh, nice bow, and I'm like, God, that's not what I'm hoping for.
That's not what I'm looking for.
I'm hoping you're gonna talk shit to me, and then I'm gonna go, oh, I'll meet you out on course number 1, and we'll see how this works
That's
out.
because secretly all men are feeling the same thing that you were when you saw the bow. They're actually like, damn,
No, it's
it's
the same
nice.
bow. Which does
They
remind
just don't
me,
want to say it, so they're like, oh yeah, that's nice, you
you
know?
got a quick segue before we get into the release. Also, he mentioned Podium Archer. If you use code PumpStation, all caps, on podiumarcher.com, 10% off.
Yes,
So,
correct.
shout out to Josh. Again, we're shooting together at TAC, so we'll see. Should be fun. The people voted for him pretty heavily to win.
They did.
We'll see.
By the way, that elite echelon that he was selling on eBay, guess how much I paid for it?
$1,500.
No. $500.
No? Oh, it's eBay. It's not like
$500.
like.
$325.
Oh.
Let's go.
Oh my
yes.
God.
Yeah, that's smart though. I think Bruce should do that. I tell Bruce all the time. I might
I
take
keep
some of
telling
this
you, let him let
inventory that
me
no one buys
make
and
a
just
site.
put it on eBay.
It was a 6-year-old technology, unopened box elite echelon. So it's brand new.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
it's
I gotta go
been
try some
Sitting
elites.
forever in the shop, so you might as well just take a little
I did
loss.
love my
and-
elite.
Yeah, she used to be an elite girl. But tell me about these releases. What are they called? B3?
yes. So
Tell me about that.
I like Hinge releases. I've hunted with a Hinge before.
Brianna's not a fan. I don't mind them.
So I started off like everybody does with an index, and then struggled with target panic and punching the trigger and stuff like that. And then I was like, oh, this'll solve it. I'll just get a thumb button for $220.
Doesn't solve anything.
And it does not solve anything.
You can punch a thumb just as much as you can punch an index. I don't ever know why people say, the next step up is to go thumb versus
I've never
index.
understood that.
They are the same.
Because
it's
it works
the same
at
concept.
first.
Shooting with back tension or like surprise release, Joel Turner, that's twice in a row right here. I like it though. I spill all the time. I spill all the time. But if you're shooting like Joel Turner, surprise release, shooting this versus a wrist rocket finger release makes no difference.
Yeah, I can load
that's a
pressure.
style of shooting. It's not a release style.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you mentioned Joel Turner because I get a lot from his teachings as well as from John Dudley. So it was originally John Dudley. I switched to because it was like it worked at first. It worked at first because you switched something up. So the things that you were anticipating with an index, you're not anticipating anymore, and it's surprising you, which means that you're getting better consistency. But then you start to get used to that, and then it happens all over again. So I was not happy with what I was doing, and it was July, and hunting season for bow in Ohio starts usually on September 29th, somewhere around there, and it goes till February 2nd. Anytime in between there, you can kill a deer with a bow anywhere in Ohio. Does not matter what the season is. You can kill a deer with a bow from September 29th to February 2nd. It's awesome.
That is cool, yeah.
Yes. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not comfortable with my current shot process to smoke a deer. I'm going to injure it. I'm going to miss. I'm not comfortable. So I made the decision to completely and totally break down my shot process from ground up, and hopefully get it by September. And if it doesn't happen by September, I've got till February 2nd to do it. So I watched a whole bunch of John Dudley videos where he's talking about hinge releases and stuff like that, and I decided to try that out, and I liked it at first. My groups did open up, but I didn't have any flyers, and also it's weird. A weird thing happens with a hinge release where when you're experiencing like a lot of target panic, your pin will sit completely rock steady, like
just below
3 inches below the target. So then you're like, oh well, I'll just move my pin or I'll just move my yardage to where it's. But once you get into something where you're ranging, you're never going to remember that. You're going to do the wrong yardage, and it's not good. Mm-hmm. And then you end up like trying to like lift it up and dump it, and it just doesn't work. But when I was using a hinge release and specifically focusing on the target and not the pin, so the pin is a little bit fuzzy and the target is crystal clear, I found that my pin rose up to the target, but it just floated around, stuff like that. But it floated around the target, and that was good enough for me. So then I went through hunting season, and I did pretty well. I killed one deer, and then missed I missed the biggest buck that I would have ever had. He was a big 6-pointer, and I have it on video of me. I actually aimed below the deer, and if you've never hunted in Ohio, they all jump the string. Mm-hmm. They all
this one didn't.
And it did. Oh. And he went all the way down. His belly must have touched the ground.
I've had that once.
Yeah, mm-hmm. And it was crazy. There was nothing I could do.
No.
There was nothing I could do.
Not there. No.
I missed 2 deer that year to jumping the string, and there's really nothing you could do. No. But in the stand, I with the hinge release, that pin, I was able to freeze the deer with a like that, and he kind of like looked up and stood there. It was perfect. Everything was perfect. And then I got back and started my rotation, and that pin never moved from where I wanted it to be, and it just broke so clean. And I was very pleased with the actual shot, but just the result just didn't happen.
Yeah, and but you knew the shot was good.
The shot was good. Yeah. Everything about it was good.
That's
it was
different.
Yeah.
That's much different than like missing and being like,
yeah,
I don't know.
But now that you mentioned Joel Turner, I started to watch his videos, and there is a video, and there's a famous video where Elkshake first, Dan from Elkshake first introduces him, and Joel Turner just talks shit to all of them, and it's really funny, and it's awesome.
Is that the recent one with him, MFJJ?
No, it's old.
It's old. It's the first time I ever saw him.
I think I saw that video. It's like in a backyard or something.
No, it's at Podium Archer.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that one then.
The one in his backyard, though. The one in Dan's backyard,
I have seen that
where his child like craps himself in the middle of the video.
I've seen
funny.
that one.
There's a part in that video, and I can't believe that Joel hasn't asked him to take it down, because this is my secret to everything. There's a point where he asks Dan, he gets him to use the like build pressure, build pressure, build pressure, build pressure, and do that. And he does it a bunch of times. And there's a point where he asks Dan to stand on one leg. And he stands on one leg, he executes a shot, and he's like, that was crazy. Like, I couldn't get anything going. He's like, okay, next time, stand on one leg. The only thing I want you to focus on is what you're doing with this hand back here. And so he focuses, and in the shot before, he couldn't get his leg to stand still. It was like crazy. He couldn't, it was not working. Mm-hmm. And then he tried the second shot, and the only thing he focused on was this right here. And getting that release to pull until it went off. And he asked Dan, he's like, what did you feel? And he's like, my leg went completely and totally still, rock solid. And he's like, yes, because you're focusing on something else. Mm-hmm. Your brain knows how to stabilize yourself. Your brain knows how to do that very, very well.
Yeah, for sure.
If the only thing you're focusing on is the stability of this leg, it's going to go all over the place. You're having to concentrate on it and stuff like that. If you give your brain something to do other than stabilize yourself, your subconscious will learn to stabilize your subconscious will take over and do the rest for you. And although his pin was flying all over the place, that was a light bulb for me to where, obviously when we're shooting, we're standing, at a completely solid position most of the time. And even when we're hunting, we're not standing on one leg. We've got our legs underneath us and we're rock solid and still. But that whole thing where the only thing you're focusing on is what's happening in this hand right here. And that's why I do something weird with my release. And I brought it, maybe. Yes. So I brought it, and I do this with a thumb button as well as I went to the zoo today. So
yeah, nice. It. Yeah.
I shoot a thumb button exactly like I do a hinge.
Okay.
So I've got this all the way back here, and then I touch my thumb to my index finger, yep. And then I rotate it back and pull at the same time, and then this is actually what activates this part of my thumb is what actually activates the trigger. So. Mm-hmm. It's a complete surprise shot. That's why you'll see my arm come back like crazy because I'm pulling against the back wall. But when you focus on what's going back here and you focus on that rotation, you'll find that your pin will all of a sudden go from a float to just rock solid, and it'll just float just around the middle of the target, and that it was a light bulb for me. Mm-hmm. And I took that where he made him stand on one leg, and basically that's what I glean from his teachings. I think with Joel Turner there's a marketing aspect where he does a whole bunch, and he's very good at it. And he's got a team and stuff like that, but his practical demonstrations are where the rubber meets the road with his techniques and stuff like that. He'll say a whole bunch of shit on his Instagram channel and on his Instagram videos where I the words are too big and I don't understand. But his practical demonstrations are incredibly powerful.
That's what Nick was just talking about, buying his his class or whatever you can buy on his website, just to see if he could get anything out of it. Because I have. What you're explaining, it's just always been the way I shoot. I have tried to fix it. We fixed my draw. I used to draw like this. Now I draw normal. And the one thing that I've just not been able to get past is there are some times when I will, for the most part, load it enough that, I'm not commanding the shot. And I would say 80% at least of the time, I am just... And I find that, I don't know if it's because it's a habit I've created, that I am more repetitive or accurate in my shot by commanding, punching, whatever the trigger. But, like you say, like, out here, completely unsteady. Like, it takes a lot. So you'll see it takes me forever before I let off a shot because I'm sitting there like, stay still, stay still. So, I don't know. Maybe it would help if I buy Joel Turner's thing or watch some of the videos. I don't know. Try a hinge or something. I have never been able to get rid of it. And then I'm, like, leery of hinges because, like, how you're explaining, thumb is no different really than an index. Like, some people explain it, or Matt even explains it with his thumb. They'll get that hinge in their hand and, like, how you're saying you kind of, like, start the rotation. But then some people just teach it, like, well, when you rotate the wrist. But I think that's, like, I don't know, to me it's like, well, then you're not really, like, using the back tension to surprise the shot. You're just setting off the trigger by rotating the wrist.
Yeah,
it's still
rotation.
A trigger. It's still a command.
You can punch a hinge.
Yeah, you for sure can punch a hinge.
Yeah, so then I'm like, well, would I just create my same habit when I switch to trying a hinge, I don't know what will ever make me get rid of it to the point where I'm like, I'm just not going to get rid of it. I'm just going to keep shooting that way.
Well, I think what's important to remember is there is some of the best archers in the world punch the triggers.
Yeah.
They're command shooters. And I don't think that's like... I think there's kind of become this thing in archery where if you're a command shooter, people are like, you're trash or whatever because you're punching. It's like, yeah, well, I'll also shoot way better than you. So, like, what matters more, But I thought that what David showed with that was amazing because I've shot this same release literally for like 20 years. Yeah. I love it. My backup one's the same, but it's the new version that Carter made. I don't like it nearly as much. It's thicker, heavier. Mm-hmm. But dude, my process is the exact same. Draw back and I friggin' touch here to here.
Yeah.
And then I'll start to, like you said, this release actually, because it's so old now, it has like a little point where I can get it doesn't even happen every time, but I kind of like that, where I can get the barrel to move just slightly, like an 1/16 of an inch, but I feel it, and then it's kind of like a click.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, and then sometimes it won't happen, but either way, I'm always trying to find that movement, and then if it doesn't happen...
It's crazy how light yours is. You don't even see.
It doesn't even move. Yeah,
it's wild.
It's nothing, but I do the same exact thing you said, and just get there.
Carters are so clean. They just don't move. And I like B3 because they've got excellent hinges and they're super lightweight and stuff like that. But you really made a good point there in that, like, there are command shooters out there who they don't have these problems, but I do.
Yeah, that's
I can't shoot like that.
Yeah.
And I figured that out is that, like, if I try to shoot like that, I will. No, that's a button.
I was like, wait, there's a thumb on.
You hit that perfect.
Yeah.
Here's
you hit that perfect.
I'm not Cameron Haynes. I can't do what he does.
Right. Or Kyle Douglas or something.
Yeah, when he shoots, nothing moves.
And I can do that.
I've
always shot that way. Like, I'll come back and I come to here. And I wrap just like you, and I would say most of the time I would call myself like a 90-10 shooter. I'll draw back, but like you said, my pin, I've never in my whole life, hopefully knock on wood, I've never struggled with pin movement. Like, my pin doesn't move, it just sits there. So I draw back and it sits, and then I need zero pressure and boom, it goes off. Yeah. Even if I maybe anticipated it sometimes, I'm still not moving. I'm not yanking and hitting a 5. It's like going home unless I hit low or whatever, But, like, my shots are pure. You can watch it in slow-mo. I do not move. But nowadays, because everyone's always on your ass about surprise shots, I'm like, let me really, like, give this a go. So lately I've been, like I said, trying to, like, actually feel the trigger that doesn't move. I try to, like, feel it actually move, and it doesn't. So then, boom, a lot of times I'm getting those surprise shots. And what's funny is, so many times when it goes off as a surprise, I'm like, shit, I broke that high. Like my pin I wasn't quite. I'll feel like it's high, and then it'll actually be like right in the middle, slightly high.
There's a competitive shooter that I listen to talk on the Lancaster Archery Classic, where you've got like the best shooters in the world shooting that classic, and to hear a competitive archer like talk about how, well, you just gotta trust the float, because where that pin breaks is not necessary where the pin is when that shot breaks is not necessarily where that thing's going. That fucked with my head, because then what are you supposed to rely on? But then you have to think, what means more, the pin being exactly where you want it, or everything you're doing with your entire body on that shot? And I tend to lean towards, if you've got everything the same on the rest of your body, your pin, like, floating around and stuff like that, is not going to mean as much to accuracy and precision. I could be completely wrong about that, but I do know that when I execute a surprise shot, like, I can't see where my shot goes, because there's so much like violence associated with my shot, like everything moves and stuff like that. But when it's good, there's a feeling where you're just like, that's it, and you look through your binos and it's right there.
Do you shoot with both eyes open?
Yes.
Me too.
I've always been that.
Me too.
To wrap my story about that up, though, the reason why I got away from trying to get away from anticipatory movement, which Joel Turner talks about and stuff like that, in other words, flinching, which I think a lot of archers do it as well. It's the exact same principle. I during gun season in Ohio, I hunt with 44 Magnum pistol. Pistol is very hard to hunt with, because you're not as steady. You're shooting off of a stick, or you're shooting like, just offhand.
Offhand, yeah.
And 44 Magnum is no slouch of a round, especially with the way my dad and I.
With a pistol,
yeah,
size pistol.
Ted used to do it.
Yes, dude, it's awesome. I love it. It makes you feel like you've got gigantic monkey balls when you do it. But yeah, it's no slouch of a round, and it has a lot of recoil.
For
and I got my first 2 deer in Ohio with 44 Magnum as a young man. And then I got into, I was always into archery, but I actually got into archery hunting after doing gun hunting and stuff like that, because I wanted that whole span of time to get more deer, whereas gun season is only a week plus a bonus weekend. And I got my first 2 deer with 44 Magnum, no problem. It was great. It was like, oh, well, I'm fucking dead money with this thing. I can never miss. And then I started missing deer everywhere. And I was like, this is ridiculous. What's going on? Like, did I... and everything matters. Your grip, your...
pushing into the gun.
Everything. So I went out to the shooting range.
Because pistols have such a short barrel.
Yeah.
So there's no forgiveness.
Right. And I got my first deer with 44 Magnum at like 80 yards.
That's crazy.
And I was like,
what?
I'm the fucking master at this,
Annie Oakley over here.
Yeah, exactly. Elmer Keith over here. And... And so I went out to the range. I was like, there's got to be something wrong with this gun. And there's got to be something wrong with this bow. There's got to be something wrong with this gun.
Of course. If you're ever shooting bad, just blame the equipment.
Yeah. And so I went out to the range, and something happened that completely and totally act of fate. My dad and I always reloaded our own 44 Magnum round, because we load them hot. I had a bad primer, and I shot 2 shots, and then the bad primer hit, and my reticle went into the dirt.
You flinched a shitload.
Yeah, and the 2 loudest sounds are the bang when you expect nothing to happen, and nothing happens when you expect it to go bang. Those are the 2 loudest sounds you'll ever hear when shooting a gun. And my reticle went into the dirt, and I was like, oh, okay. I know what's going on. So what I did, and I don't recommend you do this unless you're at a range and you have good, you have good practices, but
You had someone load like 4 live rounds in one day.
I loaded, so I would load one in the chamber, spin it, stop it, load another one, spin it, stop it, collapse the chamber, go right up. I couldn't see where it was, and then the only thing I would focus on is the trigger pull. And goddamn, was it hard! Like even when I was focusing on it, it was very difficult to keep it on target, not to like have it go down. But eventually, I learned to just focus on that trigger pull, and then to just like when it recoiled, just ride it, just let it ride, let it do what it wants to do, bring it back down, you know. And I got. It was weird. I got so good with that thing, and I'm not good with it now, just because the difference. You have to grip it the same every time, and I got really good at gripping. But I got to the point where I was hitting a steel target at 200 yards, and it was now, crazy. And it had a scope on it. I will tell you that.
Though, that's crazy.
But when it got to the steel target, it was barely enough to take the paint off of the steel target.
Yeah.
But I could still see the little chip, but I couldn't do that now. But that was a very powerful lesson, and I carried that into archery with.
I've done that before, where you like shoot a rifle or something, and shooting is just like it might not even move that much, but you feel like a little like tension, you know. Yeah, but hey, what a pod!
Yeah,
it's a good pod. 614 Archery.
Yes.
Instagram, YouTube. Come to the Southwest Bowhunter Shoot April 12th and 13th. You can meet the boy and Brianna, buy some merch, and shoot a great shoot. That you set some targets at that or what?
Oh, we're gonna set up a lot of targets. It's like 100 targets.
There you go, 100 targets.
I'll be at the
come
booth.
shoot that.
I'll be at the booth.
SouthwestBowhunters.com, I'm assuming.
Yes.
SouthwestBowhunters.com, and then lastly. Bow Disciples Challenge 2. David's going to be there. Another guy's going to be there. So come to that and subscribe to the pod channel. It's a bastard to make these. I was bitching to him about it. They're so hard to make. So please throw me a bone. Get it subscribed so we can make a little bit of money. Not subscribe. Monetize. And that's it. Brianna, you want to look at that camera and close it out? You got anything you want to say?
Bowdisciples.com to pick up your tickets. Come hang out with us. See you in the next one.
Great pod.